Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Math 100. This is section 2.2, part 1. And in section 2.2, we are going to study deceptive and misleading use and abuse of numbers, particularly percentages. You see, when you talk about percentages, you can actually make things a little confusing to people. Some people intentionally do that because they want you to be confused or they want you to be misled. So in order to play a role of an intelligent citizen, an intelligent voter, an intelligent part of the community, you really need to understand how these numbers work, okay? So let's get to it. The deceptive and sometimes misleading uses of percentages. I will share my screen as usual, and we will get started. Okay, deceptive and misleading numbers and percentages. The main question here is how can percentages be deceptive or trick you? All right, and so first we are going to do a review of what we covered in section 1, which is comparing quantity A with quantity B. And we talk about the comparison, right? So you know what the absolute difference is, right? This absolute difference is simply A minus B. It's a numerical difference, sometimes B minus A. Maybe I should not, whoops, okay. Let me go back and write what we had here. What we are trying to do is comparing quantity A and quantity B. All right, and again, the absolute difference is simply the number A minus B or B minus A in case B is bigger than A. All right, and the relative difference is the percentage difference, right? It's a percentage difference. And of course, that seems simple, but what we have to do is just divide the absolute difference with which number? By the base number. And this is a tricky part. This base number can be A or B, depending on how the wording is stated, okay? So the base or the reference number is the quantity, either A or B, preceded by the word of or than, as in more than or less than. Okay, so let me give you an example. We looked at this a little bit last time, but let's say you have two watches, okay? Watch A, the kind of watch I carry, which is rather cheap. Let's say it's $40. Actually, I think my watch is even cheaper than that. And then watch B is $120, the type my daughter wears, okay? Then the absolute differences are simply the difference between 120 and 40. That's $80. Okay, that is called the absolute difference. It's just a numerical difference between A and B. Now, here comes the tricky part. B cost what percent more than A? The words more than A, okay, this tells you that A should be the reference or the base number, the price of A. Okay, now because we are comparing and we're trying to find out the cost of B more than the cost of A, we are looking at the difference, okay, the relative difference, which is 80 divided by, and remember the base number is the price of the watch A here because it's followed by, or it's preceded by the word than. Okay, so 80 divided by 40 is 2, which represents 200%. So you can say watch B costs 200% more than A. After all, the difference is 80, and the price of watch A is 40, which is used as a reference number here, right? So the answer here is 200%. The price of B, however, the price of B is what percent of. And this time it's not more than, it's of, okay? And that's why this part is called of versus more than. Okay, when you say the price of B is what percent of the price of A, this time we don't use that absolute difference because now we are comparing the price of B and the price of A. The price of B is 120, price of A is 40. And if you divide 120 by 40, you get 3, which is 300%. So the correct statement here is that the price of B is 300% of the price of A. But remember, the price of B was 200% more than the price of A. Okay, so that's the difference between more than and of. All right, let's do two more in the context of these same watches. A, the price of, or the price, well, let's say the watch A costs what percent less than B? Now notice here, this time the reference has changed. Less than B means that we have to consider the price of B as the reference number. Now, because we are comparing, okay, again, the difference, we have to write the absolute difference, which is 40, and then divide it this time by the price of B, which is 120. Right. I'm sorry about that. The difference is actually 80, wasn't it? Okay. So the difference was 80, and 80 divided by 120 turns out to be 0.666, approximately 67. Well, let's just go ahead and write 66.7%. All right. So the price of A, or you can say watch A, costs about 66.7% less than B, because the absolute difference of 80 is 66.7% of the price of B, which is $120. The price of A is what percent of, this time it's not less than, but it's of the price of B. This time we are comparing the two prices, 40 and 120. Remember, we know 120 is the base because the comparison is based on, or relative to, or with respect to the price of B. And so this turns out to be 1/3. 1/3 is the same as 40 over 120, and that is 0.333 repeating, and that is approximately 30.3%. And you can say the price of A is 33.3% of the price of B, but it is 66.7% less than the price of B. All right, so be careful in using the words more than, less than, or of, because you notice here we have given 4 different percentages here, right? We are still comparing the same two watches, A and B. Okay, you can say again, B. The cost of B is 200% more than the cost of A, which will make the price of B 300% of the price of A. Or you can say the price of A is 66.7% less than the price of B, which means that the price of A is 33% of the price of B. Now, notice here, 200, 300, 66, and 33. 4 different numbers can represent the same set of, or pair of watches, right? So it is confusing, yes. But that's because there are 4 different ways to compare these things, right? There are 4 different percentages describing the same pair of watches. Okay, so be careful with this. All right, now a percentage change followed by another. This is another crucial element of this section here. All right, what happens to the price of a rental car if it increases by 30% 1 month? Okay, so let's say, there's some kind of inflation going on with the rental car prices. So it grows by 30%. And then the price increases again by 40% the following month. So what is the total percentage increase? 30% plus 40% is 70%. And the answer is no, we can't do that. Okay, we can't add percentages because these 2 percentages are based on 2 different base numbers or reference numbers. So let's start, and here's a way to think about all of these problems. Okay, start with a fixed number. Let's say like $100. Okay, because that's an easy number to consider. And you can use any other number. The percentages will still come up the same. Start with a fixed number like $100, right? A 30% increase will give you what? Of course, $130. Okay, that would be the price of this rental car, or the rate of this rental car, when it's increased by 30% from the beginning rate of $100. But then the price increases again by 40%. But notice here, we have to now calculate 40% of 130. Okay, and so that is 52. Okay, it's 0.4 times 130. So then we add 52 to 130, and that's 182. Okay, so what happened is in the first month it increased by 30%, and in next month it increased by 40%. Altogether, the $100 original price or the rate has gone up to 182. This is 82% more, right, than $100. So the total increase turns out to be not $70, not 70%, but it turns out to be 82% overall. Okay, so do not add two percentages because the percentage bases have changed. And then at the bottom of page 1, you got a 50% pay cut one day, followed by a 50% pay raise. So you're back at the original pay, right? No, again, minus 50 plus 50 would be equal to 0, but that kind of addition and subtraction does not work when two percentages are involved with two different reference numbers. So again, let's start with a fixed number. Let's say you used to be paid $100 a day, okay? And then a 50% cut will give you $50 a day, right? Because half is being cut. And then follow that by a 50% raise. So a 50% raise would mean 50% of that new daily wage, which is $50. And that is, of course, $25. So you add 25 to your current $50, and that's $75. And this will be the result of the pay raise, which followed the pay cut, right? So a 50% pay cut followed by a 50% pay raise only went from $100 to $75, okay? So $75 is still $25 below $100. So the total result is that you got a 25% pay cut. Not a very good piece of information for you, right? But again, this just illustrates the fact that you cannot just add two percentages, right? So again, percentages could be deceptive. So you have to be very careful when looking at these numbers. All right, in the second segment or the second part of this lesson, we will look at page 2 of this handout, okay? So let me stop here and then we'll go into part 2.